Hello and welcome to Commodity Champions. I'm Manisha Gupta and our focus today is on the significant growth seen in India's dry fruits and the nuts sector. The demand is led by consumers increasingly opting for healthier snacking options. India's dry fruit market is currently the fastest growing in the world, valued at over $6 billion at retail level. The sector is seeing high growth in revenue, which is estimated at over $134 billion for 2024. While the sector is optimistic about sustained growth in the coming years, there are few concerns regarding import duty, crisis in Russia and Ukraine, and the Red Sea impacting the supply chain and so on. To decode the outlook for the industry this year, now we are joined by Gunjan Jain, who's MD and CEO at VKC Nuts. Yash Gawdi is founder and CEO at Candor Foods. Also joining us are Deepak Agarwal, director at Proventus Agrocom, and Bhanushali is founder and CEO at Ashapura Agrocom. Gentlemen, hi, thank you so much. And you are clearly leading the health and the superfood category in India. And we are looking at strong growth demand continuing in for this one. Gunjan, I'll start with you. And while as big as the sector is and the growth that is there, what did you feel the need to make a national council for? Do you think it's a collective voice and it can address a lot of concerns and opportunities within the space?
Yeah, a very good afternoon, and thank you, Manisha, for this opportunity to represent and talk about this so far unrepresented sector. As we've seen, it's an almost $7 billion on a retail level, 56,000 crores worth of segment, nuts and dried fruit. It still remains very unorganized and it's moving towards the organized sector. So there was a need to get the whole industry together. There are so many players that are there in the industry who are unrepresented. So we thought we'll get everybody together and we created this National Council for Nuts and Dried Fruit, where we've gotten together to address as one body, one voice across all the stakeholders, whether it's the honorable government, whether it's our foreign partners, whether it's the domestic market within, whether we are talking to various boards to talk about promotion in India. So that was the whole idea of trying to get everybody together to create this council. We've been successful in doing that. We've had a very good representation. Today, almost 80% of the industry is already a part of the membership direct, importers as well as the stakeholders, whether it's retailers. And we are looking at much faster growth in the coming days. This segment of nuts and dried fruits, it's seen excellent increase. Post-COVID, I think everybody got so aware on the health benefits of nuts and dried fruits and the fact that these are nature's immunity pills. Everybody started looking at trying to get more and more nuts and dried fruit incorporated in their diets. Absolutely. And we can see that in the increase in the sector. We've seen excellent traction across various commodities.
Gunjan, so if I may ask, how many total players are in India who are into dry fruits? That's one. What is the kind of demand growth that India has seen in past few years? And what are the kind of projections that you as an industry are now posting for the next 5 to 8 years?
So on the number of players, it's a very unorganized sector. So I would say that the number would very easily between the growers. We have a lot of growers in India who are growing raisins. We have growers who are growing cashews. We have growers in Kashmir growing walnuts. So if you add all these people together, I mean, this industry is totally, I mean, it'll have more than, I think, more than 10 lakh players and even more. But we have to get to that in terms of the growth. I think we've seen pistachios increasing from 9,000 tons to 35,000 tons in just the last 4 years. Walnuts, the number you've put is 66. It's gone even higher now. This year, it's gone to about 80,000 tons. And this number was 18,000 tons just 7 years ago. So everything in this segment is seeing a very good rise because of the health awareness mainly and all the work being done when it's moving from unorganized to the organized segment. We are seeing a lot of growth there.
Oh,
what
absolutely.
we see in this industry in the next 5 years, I think we can easily see the numbers double the way we are growing. We are growing at a CAGR of about 12 to 15%. So we can easily see the numbers double. I don't see a reason why it can't be 20 billion by 2030 or something. It will need a lot of support from every segment, including our honorable government. But if we are able to do it, this healthy industry can really take the next step forward.
Well, those are very, very strong numbers coming in. And as you said, well, yes, the numbers that we are showing is FY24. And I'm assuming that as we move ahead, the numbers are expected to be much higher on the calendar year basis as well. Sameer, let me get you into the conversation. And the council has had its first ever event as well. And that was in the month of Feb itself. And I do understand that you've had great representations, walk-ins, participation, etc. Do take us through the numbers.
Yeah, it was Manisha. It was an outstanding event. First of all, we had the blessings of the Honorable Speaker, Shri Om Birla ji, inaugurating the event, and that in itself showed government's commitment and intent towards growing this sector. So this was our first ever show, and the response was phenomenal. We had more than 6,000 visitors, relevant dry fruit and nut industry visitors, along with more than 300 foreign delegates, more than 200 exhibitors, and deals worth more than $50 million were transacted during the 2 days of the event. So it was a resounding success, and it is in continuation with the government's push for Make in India. The event was at Yashobhumi, and we are very proud to say that it's probably one of the finest state-of-the-art convention center in Asia, probably in the world. And the entire global community was stunned to see how good that venue was and how well the event was pulled off by NDFCI. And we will be making this event bigger and bigger each year, and the vision is to make it bigger than Gulf Food, which is right now the biggest food show in the world.
Oh, absolutely, Sameer. Look forward to that. And when we call India as the fastest growing market, and Deepak, this question is to you, how would you compare it to the global markets vis-a-vis the Indian markets, as in sense of numbers?
Hi, Manisha. So I think, this has been the story since COVID, last few years. Everything, India has been the shining star. I mean, generally, if you talk about the financial market or if you talk about the GDP growth, I think dry fruits is similar. I think there's no different story here. I mean, speaking of numbers overall, US and Europe, they are the biggest consumer on absolute base per capita. And I mean, if you say per capita, they are at least 8 to 10x of our consumption. But last few years, they have seen phases of degrowth, and but overall in the last 4-5 years post-COVID era, they have been overall flat to a low single-digit growth. This is for the developed economies. Asia, other than China, has been around 5 to 10% level at max. On the other hand, India has been a healthy around 15% if you look at the whole category. I think we have already discussed pistachios and walnuts, how well they have done there. Some things are like at least 5x in the last 5 to 7 years. Pistachios already 3x in the last 3 to 4 years. So on a relatively smaller base for pistachios, walnuts, or maybe soft figs, we are close to 40-50% on a growth chart. And like we consider almond and cashews, which are the top 2 value grocer in India, they are close to 8 to 10%. So it has been the similar story like in all other markets. India has been a shining star. We are doing like minimum 15%, and we expect similar kind of a growth in the coming future.
All right, those are very, very strong numbers. But the concern with the industry, Yash, clearly has been that it is more unorganized rather than organized. But do you see a shift in that as well?
Yeah, hi, Manisha. I think we are definitely seeing a shift from unorganized to organized. And I would like the audience to know it's on 3 accounts. One, the traditional dry fruit was sold loose formats. Now it's all in packaged commodities. Thanks to the education and the push that the Consumer Affairs Ministries has been pushing for the last a decade and a half, you're seeing a lot more products being sold in packed formats with a lot more transparency and information going down to the consumers. The second is an advent of homegrown brands. Our show last week saw at least 20 homegrown Indian dry fruit brands who are out there, with great products, value-added products in the health food space. And I think we're seeing a significant move there from unorganized to organized. And lastly, on the retail channel, I think the last mile, the supermarkets, all the big names, DMart, Reliance, there's Star Bazaar and the others, I think have grown the store numbers over the last decade. And the access to the nuts and dry fruits have increased considerably. E-commerce and quick commerce now, post-COVID especially, I think has seen greater access across India. So it's no more the physical channel. You can ship products all across India, and a significant move there, I believe. The numbers are very, very promising, and yeah, I mean, India is very well moving towards the organized retail. The numbers still are a little small, with just about 20% of the overall industry. But I think the growth there is going to be much faster from organized to the organized.
All right, that is good to know. While, of course, there are a lot of opportunities and strong growth numbers that the industry is working with, but it's also not without some concerns, especially when it comes to import duties in case of some of those dry fruits there. That's exactly what we will discuss after this very short break.